Because it's like, you know, you got your Louis Vuitton purse when you go on the train in New York City and all the other girls know, like, you mean business. And then the girl comes out with a Chanel purse and she's like, oh yeah? It's the perfect, I mean business, I'm a professional musician, but I also like nice things. I'll start off with the sweet switch. I don't like having to know that this is at 7 or this is at 5. This is the Fender sounds. This is if you want to sound really bright and, you know, when you go to the single coil jangle, that the T&B pickups, which are not in this, they will be. We're going to do a before and afterwards. These are stupid Andersons, and we'll get into it in a second. And I don't mean the Anderson's stupid, but I mean that, like, the fact that someone put them in this beautiful guitar was not cool. You don't need a Floyd. You don't need a Kaler. You just need a man bridge. Man the fuck up, gentlemen and ladies. Specifically, I went to a studio off Craigslist, some guy off Craigslist years ago to trade a PRS. He's like, well, you know the ones from like 85 and 91 are called like the pre-factory ones. They're all Brazilian rosewood. There's a lot of misinformation around. 1985 to 1993 is not pre-factory, okay? There was a factory, in fact. It's just not the factory that they're in now with the CNC machines. I don't know where it came from, guys. I'm just telling you. I get it. It triggers you. It makes you upset. Makes me upset because it makes me sound stupid when I say it, so I'm not gonna say it anymore. I'm gonna call it the sweet switch era because they got rid of it. I think it was around 91. Or the short heel era, which basically, if you look back here, this is a shorter heel than, let's say, if you look at this Custom 22. That's from 2005. It was until 1991 that they used Brazilian rosewood fretboards, standard on all the custom stuff. Paul will tell you himself that if you were in the factory when this was being made, that it smelled like chocolate. You know it's an aphrodisiac. You know it's awesome. So you get all the people high in the factory because they walk into your office and they're like, what is he doing? He's sanding Brazilian rosewood. And it smells delicious. These abalone birds have now, they've done, I believe, a laminate of them. So it's not a solid piece of actual mollusk. The inlay technique is different. These were all hand inlaid and there was no CNC machines. And Paul over and over and over and over on every forum and every video and everything says, it doesn't make a difference. I don't think it makes a difference because Paul said so and I believe Paul. These were made in smaller numbers and they're much more personal. They're making a fuck ton, I think. I don't know if that's an actual metric. What's a fuck ton? Maybe is it a shit ton? They're making a shit ton of guitars a day. The first limited edition that Paul Reed Smith did, obviously other than one-offs and things like that, was called the PRS Signature. They made 1,000 of them between 1988 and 1991. They were supposed to signify the above 10 top. This is my Ghost Eyes number 670, 1986 PRS that is, by the way, dated inside the pots are 85. But this was like a pretty good example of a top in 86. I mean, there were better ones. There were certainly better ones. But like this was a top. This would be almost unacceptable other than on the lower end stuff now because people have grown to such a standard with Paul Reed Smith that they expect this. It literally like hasn't been played other than someone to decimate it by taking out the beautiful T&B pickups. To my knowledge, other than the super boutique crazy stuff, the most expensive sought after pickups other than PAFs are the old treble and bass pickups. The hot fat scream, the HFS pickup that came in on the special in 88 that replaced it also sounds bananas. But I have a very special place for the T&B pickups. You're not upgrading T&B pickups. Okay, you're downgrading T&B pickups. That's like me saying, hey man, I love Zakk Wylde. I just got this 1958 Les Paul and I put EMG 81s and 85s in it. It sounds pissa. Are you shitting me? Abhorrent. This looks to me inside this guitar. And I will play it. It sounds decent. But comparatively to the guitar next to it that I'm about to show you that has T&B pickups in it, nah. These pickups sound, well, dead to me. And the T&B pickups are very much alive. There's a lot of stuff that makes PRSs or just tops better. There's the swirly swirls. There's the big fat grain, because you have this super, super, super tight, beautifully, perfectly booked match to the point where you almost can't even see the seam. If I was to turn it sideways, it's like there's a whole other playing field. It's like you can read between the lines. But with this guitar came her sister. Behold, everything that makes the sweet switch era and the short heel era of PRS cool. This is royal blue, the color, okay? And as you guys can see, it is not blue. The original royal blue color was closer to that. I think that this is whale blue. There are so many of these guitars out there that have faded. I love it. This is not a royal blue. This is like a gray with like little blue incantations. I was never a tremolo guy because I hated Floyd's, I hated Kahlers. I had a Gibson that had a Kahler on it and just sullied me on ever want, because I just changing the strings. You have to be a fucking rocket scientist. Like, stop it. And these are the T&B pickups. And as I suspected when I plugged this in, this guitar is magic. This to me kind of looks like a 10 top. I mean, it's from 86. So like, again, there wasn't such thing as a 10 top. I feel like I'm tripping at the forum, Paul. Like, look at this, guys. It's like eyes, symmetrical eyes with like big eyebrows looking at you like, grr, I'm going to get you. At the end of Temple of Doom, he's got the heart, and it's just like blood running down. It's running down the maple this way. But look at that. It's got some flame. I mean, let's do a comparison again. Now, I don't think horizontally it's necessarily what they would define today as a 10 top. What is going on with the swirly swirls? I love those swirly swirls. And if you've noticed how the color just faded away, like just let it fade away. This is a McCarty 10 top. It is a beautiful guitar. If you look up close, it is a 10 top. It's got super tight grain and all that. But from where you are, does it look that impressive? I think this is cooler. Hendrix played Gibson and Fender. Clapton played Gibson and Fender. Page played Gibson and Fender. Everyone's trying to find a balance. You did it, Paul. You did it, even from being a child. This was the bee's knees. And now that I'm an adult, it still is. You can just get lost in this fretboard. It almost makes you overlook the fact that there weren't birds, but people don't realize back then that the birds were an upgrade to the custom. They didn't all come that way, and not everyone wanted birds. These are moons. Abalone and mother of pearls. You have two types of mollusks. I'm totally happy about that. And you have the small headstock logo. They said in 1986 they only made 1,700 guitars, okay? This is serial number 6, 1923, the year my grandma was born. 6 implies 1986. 1923 implies the 1923rd guitar made in the Annapolis factory. I've seen 87s in the 17 and 1800s. And inside the cavity, it says 86. It says royal blue and the same serial number 6. So like, I mean, it's not like someone messed with this and changed it. It's an 86. And I heard that they're inconsistent. If it really is an 86 and it's number 1923, is it the last one that was ever made? Was it made in 87? Was it like, did Marty McFly come from 87 back to 86 with the neck, but put it on in 86, but then it's the neck was from 80s? But you got proof of life. Somebody loved this guitar, but they wore a belt for 30 years. In the same spot, but like the rest of it, like it was babied. Some people have asked, what's up with these tuners like this? The phase 1 tuners actually touched like this. These are definitely not phase 2 or phase 3. These aren't the right ones, but basically they moved them apart. Someone's like, whoa, dude, what's up with that? Yeah, what is up with that? And then I got to look at my guitars. I'm like, oh my God, they're all different. How did I not notice that? You can have whatever guitar amp you want, a Dumble, a PRS, a Marshall, whatever. At the end of the day, it's gonna be like you, but I practice with a Boss Katana.
Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?